Welcome back to another episode of SheBlooms. I'm your host, Chantal. Join and subscribe as myself alongside different guests talk about life, love, adulting, and everything under the sun as we grow and glow as a sisterhood. So, fam, this is the first episode of 2021. We're finally back. We were on a bit of a hiatus. You'll find out more with kind of as the episode goes. I think you'll find out why I was on hiatus. But so as you can tell from the title, we're going to delve into surviving this thing called life with all of its ups and downs, constant changes, ebbs and flows type vibe. Today, I'm very happy to be joined by some good friends of mine, two of which are new to SheBlooms, and we have a returning, I think at this point, co-host. Ladies, I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa, and thank you for having me, Shanti. This is very good, and I'm excited. The fact that it's actually the first SheBlooms, episode in 2021. So thank you for having me.
Hello, my name is Martine. People call me Winnie, and I'm really happy to be part of this episode of SheBloom. I know I've been dodging you, Chantal, but finally I've made it. So yeah.
Hi everyone, this is Maureen, aka Mama Gabi, aka More Money. Although this year it's more like no money, but hey,
we're manifesting. We're manifesting. We have to manifest more money. Anyway, so thank you girls for being here, especially for this episode, which is obviously I've mentioned it's the first one back, but it's also on a topic that I think is very near and dear to my heart, and I think to a lot of people. Is kind of the ebbs and flows of life, dealing with, what's that saying? When life gives you lemons,
you make lemonade.
The
whole thing.
The whole thing.
Tequila shots.
But yeah, what Mo just said that you drink tequila. Sometimes when life hands you lemons, you just are like, where is Camino at in particular? Where
please don't talk about Camino. Don't.
Go to Patron, please. We are manifesting.
But yeah, so I think naturally, obviously with COVID, I think we're still very much so in the mix of it. It might not be as, what can I say, as dramatic? Maybe, I don't know if the word is dramatic, but as dramatic as it was last year at this point in time. But we're still dealing with like the effects of it, and how that affected all of our lives individually. So for me, I'm coming out of what I would call an ebb phase, right? I think it took me a bit longer. I think people thought I should maybe be out of it in like sometime in December. But it took me a while to recover from what had gone on last year. You know what I mean? So I think it's also like a recovery period. Like I think people think like, oh, your life has changed now and like you should be kawa. You know what I mean? But it's like maybe change is not kawa. That's number one. Like getting used to the new normal. So that's why SheBlooms was on a hiatus. People tuning in. I just didn't feel comfortable. So this SheBlooms is about sharing, experiences and kind of how to overcome something. And I think while I was in the middle of so much like uncertainty and just not really feeling all the vibes, I didn't think it was appropriate to come and do an episode and kind of share, I guess, me being in a rut, because there was nothing I was going to tell you people listening that made sense, Now that I'm on the other end of it, I think I have some things to say. But, I can give you guys some tidbits. Anyways, girls, so what do you guys think? How do you guys realize that you're in a rut? Do you guys know that you're actually in the middle of one, or do you realize it once you've overcome it?
I think for me, it depends. It depends on what, some ruts are really deeper than others. So there are some of them that I'll realize that later on. But I kind of realize when I start to be very, when I'm normally very excited about life. I have a lot of energy. I'm all about gratitude, when you really feel like you're on a high. But then those days I'm really like not feeling good. I feel like everything doesn't almost make sense. My energy is very low. And I'll just sleep for some time. That's really what I did. Like I would be like, it's almost like, how it's almost like the equivalent of ice cream, like feels like your emotions like are frozen for like a second. That's how I will feel. So sometimes I can see it and sometimes I don't. But I've realized when I don't see it, it's because I haven't been in a state of stillness to really check. When you haven't done a heart check, that's when you've been very functional. That's when I don't see it. But normally I'm able to see it and to feel it because I'm a very emotional and quite sensitive. So I will know when I'm not in the right space, so to speak.
Yeah, so you're saying like when you just like go through life like checking off all of the lists, like wake up, go to work, all of that, right?
Yes.
So then you get caught up in the day to day, and then you don't realize
you don't necessarily. Yeah. That is about, because normally I'm very like I take time to to meditate. I pray in the morning. So when I'm really just running, then there's something wrong. That's not me. So that's when I realized, for me at least.
For me, I would say there are times that I don't even realize it because maybe I will realize it later on because most of the time, like when you have to be strong all the time, So even when you're going through things, you're like, oh, maybe this is life. That's how it's supposed to be. This is how I'm supposed to be. But then, of course, with time, when you stay there for long, like what Vanny was saying, then you realize that maybe it's not you. Like there's something off or odd about you. Maybe there's something that you're missing. If I decide for a second not to be strong and just be vulnerable, then I will see that something is off. And then now I will start saying, okay, so how do I solve this and all that? Yeah, it's not all the time that I'll see it.
So for myself, I usually know when I'm in one or undergoing one because they tend to be not very, but quite frequent for myself. I'm currently undergoing one. So I'm not, I would not say I'm, a bubbly person normally, but when I start feeling like hopeless, that's when I really know, things are not good, because at least even when normally when things are not that good or when life doesn't seem to make sense, you always have that hope. Like Vanny was saying, you pray, you worship, or you talk to your friends, and you kind of, it gives you something to keep you moving on.
How Vanny, how you were saying, how you were just saying, sometimes you don't realize it because you're just going through life. Are you one of those people? Are you open to being told that you're in a rut? Because I think people have tried to tell me that I was in a rut and I was not open to it at all. I was like, you don't know anything. I'm a very happy person. like, get the hell away.
I think the beauty of life is actually growth. I don't think I am who I used to be even like, a year ago. So I think I used to be very like, no, that's not. But there are certain people that really, you can trust when they tell you something. When you don't want to acknowledge that, one way or another, you have to ask yourself, why am I not acknowledging that? Because it really, if it's not something that, if you are really in a good place, you don't need to fight it, right?
Right.
You really don't need to. So if someone comes to you and say like, this is how I feel and stuff, because I'm not moody. That's the thing. I'm not a moody person. So if it means that there's something deeper than it's just a mood. Because some people are moody and then they might have like a good day or a bad day, or 1 minute that is good, the next minute, it changes, but I'm not. So if someone comes to me, I'm very open to that. But when the intentions, you feel like they're right, because some people, the delivery as well can be harsh. And if it finds you in a bad place, then it collides, right? But when it's someone who knows you, and then they will be able to say, you know what, I don't know, are you okay? But not the okay of like, what's going on? That is a bit judgmental, right? When you feel like you're coming from a place of compassion, I think you can even easily be like, I don't know, it's been tough, I don't really know. Or it can even make you think,
Yeah, I was gonna say
But if
take a moment for you to like be like, oh shit, wait,
or
is
it could be,
something
yeah.
going on? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but when it's someone coming like very defensive or telling you that, you know, there's a tone
Or judgmental.
attached
Yeah.
to it, or very judgmental of like, oh, then you become. I personally feel like I will become a bit like, please.
Distant. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like, for me, I would say these days I can see it. I can really see when something's going on, because I take time to really think about and
in
take
tune
time
with your
for
emotions.
myself. Yes. So
Do you think that you
I
learned that during COVID? Martin, what do you think? Because I think there was a certain like stillness that COVID brought, where like you have to get in tune with your emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, that's one thing I think we need to be very thankful about the COVID, because we really had time with ourselves. Okay. So you could be, and then also you could also be able to tell exactly, let's say, like what pisses you off. Like personally, I had time to realize what is it that I cannot stand, because sometimes you know, like you just tolerate things in your life. You tolerate people, but are you so sure that that's what you want, or you're just there tolerating? So yeah, COVID did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, Mo, do you think that I mean, I would like to consider myself maybe like what do they call it? I don't know if it's a word, but I would like an accountability, like, you know how people have like a prayer partner?
partner. Yes.
I feel like I feel like me and you have that relationship in terms of being in ruts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I feel like when Mo is in a rut, I'm like her go-to person. For me, I think Maureen is more my go-to person when I'm literally like off the rails. Like when I'm on level 1000, I'm like, okay, let me call Maureen. She'll bring me back down a couple of layers. I think Maureen, for you more, I think I'm more of like of an uplifter. Does that make sense? Somebody who does kind of that. Do you guys have those people? Is it always the same person? Is it the same person for every kind of a problem? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
for me, my sister and my friends, they really do, like, they really do that for me. Like they can really tell that what's going on, you know, when we even like the moment like I speak to them on the phone, because I'm normally like very bubbly, and they'll be like, what's going on? Because the funny thing is that I don't live with a lot of, you know, my sisters, my cousins, we don't live in the same country. So I think that it can, because when you see someone frequently, you can physically, I mean, you can really see that they're well. So if someone really, they know you, and then I'm sure you have your friend that live far, and then when you talk, they're like, you know, you are not okay. So yeah, I do. Thankfully, I do. I think it's so precious.
Vanessa was talking about her sisters being her like an accountability partner, and then it just got me thinking about my one and only Diane. And for me, I think it's very different. Instead of well, I think I usually go to Diane when shit has like hit the fan, but usually I try not to, just because I think her plate is already overflowing with so many problems. I feel like when I have to bring my rut to my family, I feel like a burden. Does that make sense? So for me, I'm more so a person who is very I internalize a lot. I internalize a lot. I like to deal with it alone. And then I'll bring it to you after the fact, maybe, or like I'll bring it to you when I've figured out a resolve, when I've like already figured it out, and then I'll bring that.
Maureen has a comment.
Mo.
No, I could have waited a minute. Because something came out to me. We're talking about it at work today. Funnily enough, we're discussing about, you know, how we deal with, you know, the laws in our lives. And there was a colleague of mine who was saying that for her, she wants to be around people like that like it makes her feel better. She wants to talk to people, she wants to like interact with people. The more the more low she goes, which is the opposite for me. And I'm similar to Chantal. I want to first internalize it, so I will kind of disengage from everybody and just try to fix it on my own. Then when I do fail, or I feel like I can't deal with it by myself, that's when I'll reach out to Chantal usually, and here is what's happening, and see what help I can get from there, or like brainstorm session and figure out how we can resolve whatever is going on my own.
Yeah, definitely. And I think
how long do you wait?
I don't know.
How long? Yeah, how long is
for me? It can legit be a whole year. Like it can.
Me too.
It can be a whole. Let me tell you. Well, for people, well, you guys all know who are here. But when I was in my original rut, which was sometime 2019, 2019, maybe mid or end or something, when I was in my rut, first of all, like Diane, we had no clue. That's a fact. My mother, I had no clue. Like none of and I don't know, maybe I don't know. It's just family dynamics. I really would, put on like a happy face. Plus people always, know me as like a happy person, Balu, chill vibes, right? But then people who I worked with, so you guys who saw me every day, because I didn't live with Diane or my mom, right? Or Mo, but you people who saw me every single day were like, bitch, get your shit all the way. Like you are a mess on level 10,000 of being a mess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think when you're around people so much, you can't hide from them that whatever is going on, right? People see it. And then so people see it, and then I remember when I didn't know, I don't think I knew I was in a rut. I knew I was like dealing with some unhappiness, but I didn't know it was a rut, right? Sometimes you don't know what it is. And then I remember we went for a lunch, and I think even Martine was there. I'm pretty sure it was me, Martine, and another colleague, a guy that we work with. And he told me, you know what, from the time that I've met you to now, and like he told me like a specific period, like you've changed. Like in this one particular period, you have like you have like, you're not how you were. You don't think the same way. You're not like as happy-go-lucky, like you're not you. And I was like, shit, okay, if I'm not me, then that's like a problem. Because like I don't want like circumstances to change who I am, right?
To change you, yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's necessary, honestly. And so that was like a wake-up call for me, that I was in a rut. That was like the wake-up call, like, okay, you have to do something, like like actively, you have to do something to get out of the rut. Because I really could have continued on like what you're saying with like this like practical thing, like going on day in, day out, just go to work, sit there, be happy, go to lunch with my friends after work drinks, go home, watch a movie. Like I could have done all of that and not realized it, and if somebody hadn't told me that I had changed, So I think that led me to like working on how to get out of ruts, which I guess brings me to the question, how do you get out of a rut? For me, I remember that particular time I traveled, which I think most times, I think even Martin, I mean, even Martin, I think that's what we gel very well. Or I think our
that one works for me.
Yeah.
Travel.
Well, like, let's get the hell up out of this area code.
Let's go get some fresh air.
Let's get some, because I think sometimes even change of environment changes how you think.
I agree.
And maybe even allows you to think properly. Like how you were saying, like being introspective and really like thinking. So I think when you're in the same environment that's causing you a problem,
you need to at least
you can't think. right?
And
Because
also not
okay.
seeing it as if like it's an escape, because I think sometimes we have this, what we've been told that, we are escaping the problem, but it's not necessarily that. You have to find what works for you and do that, because I don't think what works for one person is going to work for someone else. And that's just the reality of it, because I think being able to be in another environment, being able to do something else that is not the everyday thing, you should really, you have time at least to at least be happy for a second and be like, but how can I actually go back to this feeling? Because I feel good. So why was I not feeling? So I think it gives you that space to process, to actually be able to be like, okay, let me sit down and actually process. Even waking up in another area where they speak another language, where I think it's, I mean, if you can, because it's not every day we are able to travel as well. Now that's COVID now that is here. It's not every day that it's, there are many things that may.
What I can add to that, it does not necessarily mean leaving the country. Even a change of scenery makes, even just,
even a walk.
Even a walk, even going to from Kigali to what's the next district here? Sanze, that's a change of scenery. Just removing yourself from that environment for a bit will definitely, it could be if you're at work, take some time off. Just to yourself. Put in some, I know most of us, when we think about the word exercise, it's like, it's like a stress factor, but you can do physical activity also helps. Well, in my case, like I will try to run, to jog, to walk, or even just dancing around my room just for like 30 minutes a day. It just, gives you that boost, that endorphin. Is it endorphins? Just that boost will just help you, get some change, I feel.
Oh my gosh, people are so different. I can't even imagine that Maureen just said that. That is like, I'm like, wowza, because I would never. Like,
why not?
Never exercise? First of all, when you're telling me I'm in a depression, then you're going to add on something even more depressing to me.
Shanta, I just remembered. Was it the come dine with me when you dressed up like your worst nightmare? I would never forget this thing. Wow.
Oh my god! Just side note to the listeners, we used to have a come dine with me Kigali edition.
That was fun.
It was very fun.
I miss those moments.
I really do.
What was the theme? Was it was Halloween or something? What was
it was Halloween.
And so I showed up as my worst nightmare, which was me in gym attire and a gym towel. That's what Martin is referring to. So yeah, for me, I can't imagine being depressed and then thinking exercise is going to get me out of this depression. I would.
We are very different.
It's different.
Running, I feel like running, just the idea of fresh air, it does help me. Obviously, praying is like on top of the list, but running is up there. Running is really, I feel like, when you feel like you're running and everything, not running away from the issue, but then it feels like I become lighter as I run.
Yeah,
it does
like you're sweating it out.
Exactly. That's exactly that one. That gospel, listening to gospel, I think I always like get that that feeling. I love dancing, so to actually dance, and there's a particular chocolate cake that I feel like it's that's how the Java's one, but there's another one that's in Zora. I don't know if we're supposed to like say this, but then
I mean,
feel like
if they feel like giving me money to plug them, please.
No, but seriously, those two chocolate cake, the chocolate fudge cake and Java, and the other chocolate, I think like it's the best. And ice cream for me, it does something for my emotion, at least that moment.
Lipstick?
Yes. Lipstick is
very good. That's a very good trick.
I was about to say lipstick and my nails. By the way, Shanti, your nails are so cute. Everything else can like go, but lipstick and having my nails done, they can change completely. It might sound very shallow, but I don't think it's shallow. You have to find what works for you. But lipstick is everything. Like even when when you have a headache or when you feel like, when you
You're
have
not
like
feeling yourself, yeah.
whatever, I'm always like lipstick is the trick.
But to go on from what Vanessa had said about chocolate cake,
yeah,
that is a good, it's a good, what word can I call it? Something to help you through the times. But it got me thinking about negative effects that happen in ruts or when you're going through a low period in your life, right? So there's such things as people who are overeaters, binge eaters.
Yes, yeah.
There is over drinking, over partying. It's like,
Yeah.
I guess like toxicity and substance abuse or whatever. For me, first of all, food, number one. Like I'm one of those people, if I'm depressed and I'm like, yeah, let me eat a chocolate cake, I'll eat 5 of them. I'll be like, I was depressed 5 minutes ago, I'm still depressed now, and I'm depressed 5 minutes later. Give me the cake.
Later.
Give me the cake. Line them up.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat all of them. So what are some other kind of negative things that you think that ruts bring on, that maybe that people who are listening, if you see your friend kind of showing these kind of, I guess, like, what's it called? Telltale signs? Yeah. Telltale signs that maybe we check on your friend. Maybe your friend is, going through something.
Yeah.
What would you suggest?
I think not being able to communicate. Someone really, if normally you talk to your friend and then they're very responsive and all of that, and then all of a sudden they're not hiding, but it's almost like
they withdraw.
They don't
from
have they withdraw exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Someone who's been kind of like positive, and all of a sudden everything is very dark. Like they start, like everything is over negative, judgmental. Not like the loss of hope. I would say like hopelessness. If they talk, because some people they just disappear.
Yeah.
So with disengagement, change in behavior,
100%.
What are they called? There's a word for engaging in risky behavior, like binge drinking. Some people become promiscuous. What's the word? Like other people just like take their safety for granted. Maybe normally I drive at 40. This time I'm now rolling in 120s, 200 speed. Is it there? Some cars are. So it's things like that. And also I think we spoke about disengaging, negative thoughts which usually come out in terms of, like Vanessa was saying, that the negative talk, and you need to watch out for, especially for words like statements. If somebody has, like you said, well, I'm gonna normally they're a bit more have a positive outtake on life, and all of a sudden it's what's the point, words like that. There's some things we really need to look out for in terms of our friends, even colleagues, or just people we normally associate with.
And I think
change in weight also, by the way, is one of those signs.
Yes, weight is a sign.
Drastic either increase or decrease is one of those key signs too,
But I think also one of the things for me, you have to kind of be patient, and that's where the wisdom or also the care it is, because some pain is very personal, because it's not just the rat, it's really there's something going on that we cannot ignore. So by being mindful,
I think we call it a rat just because you don't really have a word for what that
exactly. Because when for example, one of the things I realized when we talk about weight is that you can see it, and then want to we go back to what you were saying about like telling your friend, and then maybe you come with like, you've lost weight. So you have to be very mindful in that season when you see that on how you're gonna deliver the message, on how you're gonna help, maybe, or how you're gonna approach it, because then you might think that you are doing something good by noticing it, but you are making it worse. Like if you, because you know, like weight, even when you're in a good place, when someone is telling you, oh, you've lost weight, you're like, ugh, you know.
Tell me I've lost weight a big. But
I was going to say, like, where do you get such people to come and tell me every day?
Come and tell me every day I've lost weight.
I'll be like, thank you.
If you tell me, if you tell me I've put on weight, I will back
that you've lost or you've gained. It can be. I think just people should not talk about weight. How about how are you? That's enough.
Yeah. Or like you look good. That's it.
You look good. Like you don't have to. Let's not talk about weight. We don't need to. Like it's not.
Have you met Rwandans?
True. But speaking, of greetings, I think we fall into something like Vanessa. I won't put you in this round because I think you're very good at it. But maybe even me and Martine or me and Mo, when you talk to people so often, and you take them for granted, the fact that they're like in close proximity to you or whatever. I really don't know if I ever ask my friends, how are you? But that thing that's so it's so like, how are you? Fine. You know that thing that like I don't expect you to actually tell me more, or like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I really expect you to say I'm fine or I'm good, I'm kawa. What the fuck do you want?
The interesting thing is that I had my colleague once told me, like, I was like, hi, and he was like, oh, I think I said hi, and he said fine, and then he's like, are you really interested in my answer? And I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, I don't think so. I think people just, say hi for the sake of formality and, manners.
That's true.
People do it for formalities.
Yeah. So he's like, so if I came and told you I'm not well, what then? I was like, I guess I would follow up. I mean, being in HR, for me, that would be something. But I don't know what would happen if I actually told somebody, like, somebody who said hi to me on the road, or how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm not well. What would they do then?
Right? Mm-hmm. I don't think about, like, when somebody says to me, how are you? And I think about answering, I don't know that I'm really about to tell them how I am. I
honestly, say fine and keep it moving.
Keep it moving. I'll probably even crack a joke in the midst of it.
Exactly.
I'm such a strong believer of energy, though. Like the energy you put in, because if really you like how when you're asking someone, you're like, so how are you? Like when it's very like you're expecting them to say I'm fine, which is what we've been taught and all of that. Yeah. I think even you get what you put out there, and then they'll be like, I'm cool. And then you move on, sort of. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. Maybe.
No, I don't know. I don't know. It was something that just came to me now when we were talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, I honestly don't know that I put in that energy to actually find out what's going on.
Yeah, I think with your close friends, it's because either way, when you talk to me, even if you just started off with your own stuff, I'm going to tell you how I'm doing.
Yeah, true.
In the middle of whatever you're telling me,
in the middle of what I'm saying, we'll just be like, bitch, listen up.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you what's going on in my life. We are going to figure out our situations and we're going to move on. But with like, I guess with ordinary people or like acquaintances, it's really just formality's sake.
Yeah. So I think just maybe to highlight some of the things that we talked about of how to get out of low points in our lives. I think we talked about God. So definitely turning to God, I think becoming more prayerful. And I did this during COVID. Not to say that I was a person who didn't know how to pray, but I read a book about how to pray. And I think it really changed. It definitely changed my life. It changed how I prayed about things and whatnot. So definitely God, I think, is a good one as well. Worship music is number one,
the truth,
right? Like
sermons, everything.
Sermons, so uplifting.
Yeah,
right?
So much.
Because sometimes you also can't go to church.
Yes,
like COVID,
of course.
Sometimes you don't have to be around people, and sometimes the church is not really. Sometimes you don't feel like the church is maybe supportive of you or supportive of what you're going through, right? So
or maybe sometimes you don't even feel like you can face people,
right?
Church days, and
so the online sermons are amazing. I am the queen of those. Church YouTube is my best friend. Okay, that's get into that, people.
Yeah, and you have communion with God through that.
Yeah. And then a second thing that we spoke about was travel, which I just want to highlight again for safety purposes. I'm not telling you to get on a plane and go somewhere, but just to get out of your everyday environment.
Change the environment.
Yeah, change the environment.
Even having a date with yourself, do what you like, you know, the small thing. If you're in a space where you can even still remember what you like, because sometimes depending on what you are going through, you might not even, you know, in a good space, but do what you like. Yeah, if you're in a space, like genuinely do what you like.
But yeah, so those are what I would consider like the ebbs of life, right? Or like getting through the ebbs of life. Maureen is saying do something that you love. Yeah, take up
a hobby.
I don't know about taking up a hobby because I don't know if I have the energy to do that.
Yeah. Or take a nap. That's a plan as well. Like rest. Resting is a good sleep.
You know what Vanessa mentioned earlier about how she was taking naps or whatever. And honestly, do you remember? I just had like a flashback of Vanessa's year in naps. Do you remember that? I think you napped that whole year. Literally. Like for a full
necessary
year.
People
would call you at lunchtime. You're like, I'm taking a nap. I'm like, huh?
You find what works for you. Honestly, you know, rest is not overrated. Like sleep, there's nothing
overrated. And you know what? I really wanted to have this episode so people can get to learn everybody's different something. Because at that time of Vanessa's naps, I thought that shit was hilarious. Like I was like, this girl has a sleeping problem. Like something.
But do you remember though? Like all the time. Vanessa would say, "Oh, I'm sleeping. I was sleeping. I was was like, but where does she get that sleep from? I mean,
there's a week recently where I think I slept a total of maybe 4 hours that week. And I had to take time.
But then you understand, right? Why you become like irritable around people.
Because you have when you're sleep deprived. When you're sleep deprived, that's it makes perfect sense,
you know. So sleeping is one that Vanessa says. Maureen says taking up a hobby. I
do something you love as well. I'm huge on that. Take yourself on a date again.
Take yourself.
Don't wait someone else. And also for me, I
was just going to say that, you know, we continue to work. Even taking leave, I don't know why people don't take leave.
True.
Like you don't travel, you don't have to go anywhere. Just stay in your room and just, you know, clear your mind.
Be still. Yeah.
Exactly.
My mom always say, and you know, when you know, it can be very, but I think it's life experiences and stuff. She's always like, it will pass. You know, I think now, in different seasons and stuff, like it's a season and this will pass. You know, it gives that kind of piece of like, okay, I know that I have to go through this, but I know it's not going to always be like this, you know? And that I think
definitely, again, if you go back to the title, ebbs and flows or whatever people, ups and downs, right? Like, and I say this, you know, what's it called? Mountaintops and valleys.
Mountaintops, yes. Highs and
hills. There's going to be highs and there's going to be lows, right? Of which, speaking of, I think we've spoken about a lot of the ebbs and how to deal with the low points in our lives. But there's also the high points, right? There is when things are going right in your life, everything is good. How to manage that or how to deal with that, because I find that that's also something to deal with. I think first of all, maybe myself and I've listened to other people, some kind of guilt for everything being right in your life, right? Or for the moment, right? Things going well. Like, how do you guys feel when you're on a high? Are you there waiting for lemons to be thrown at you? Do you feel guilty? Are you like, no, bitch, I'm owning this moment in my life? Like, what's you individually? What's your mode kind of being on a high?
So for me, when I'm on a high, I always feel like, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Right?
Like any minute, any minute now, it's about to hit the fan. Right?
Yep.
So I can never even enjoy it because I'm always waiting. And there's always this thing, like it becomes like a self-professing something prophecy. Self-something prophecy. Like I feel like I'm actually bringing doom upon myself because I'm waiting for it.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Martin?
Oh, and there's also that bit of, you feel like it's okay, like, during COVID, some people lost their jobs, some people had their salaries halved or stuff like that, like salary giveaway cuts, and I never got any of that. So there was that guilt of why me, other people are suffering, that.
I think I can relate to what Maureen was talking about. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. But then I think maybe we don't get enough time to enjoy it because you are thinking again, or maybe there's something else that is going to happen and it's not going to be good. Like you're expecting the worst in every case, even when that good stuff happening to you. Like, you're like, yeah, they're not that real. I'm sure there's something fishy about to come. Yeah.
This can't be real life.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Like, what is this? Is it really good? Is it going to stay there? So then, like Maureen said, then you're not able to enjoy it because you are just waiting for the worst to happen, even when the worst is not ready to come. They're like, where is it? Come for me. Yeah. And sometimes it's really okay. There are times where it really, really feels so good. Like, yeah, you've made it. Yeah.
No, I'm really high. Like I'm happy, I'm grateful, like I love. So it's not like I'm expecting anything in the, that's something else. That's why I was like, oh, okay. So I totally enjoy it. It's not like I'm waiting for something to come because I'm very huge on gratitude. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very huge. Gratitude, grace to myself and others. Those are the two things that I feel like, I'm up there. So that's why in that moment, I'm actually genuinely thankful. And I'm like, thank God. And that I can always find something, I think that's why I hold on to that because the highs, there are so many things that I'm thankful of that actually, even though maybe in the back of my mind or maybe my subconscious, it could be that maybe something else will not. I'll be like, but I'll still be thankful for this day, or I'll still be thankful for this moment,
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really. When that is happening, I'm like, yeah, I really live it. I live in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm very I'm genuinely thankful for that. So I don't have that. Maybe something else will come. And also, I sometimes wonder, is it a learned behavior that we should expecting something bad coming?
I think so.
Because why do we have to feel like, because we do deserve to be in a good space. We do, I mean, that's me. So my highs, I really celebrated.
I think it's I don't know if it's learned, maybe it is learned, but I think it's like a self-defense mechanism. So like if I lower my expectations or whatever, then the drop into my low won't be like, that dream where you're falling and like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, like, imagine like if you could like half that and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
just like half that. I think that's what it is. For myself, I don't think do I feel guilt? I don't feel guilt. I also am like maybe I'm a bit more like Vanessa. I believe in enjoyment. So I'm really going to enjoy whatever that high is. I'm going to enjoy it, but I enjoy it cautiously. And when I say cautiously, it's not even that I think something negative is going to happen or something like that, but I'm cautious about the people around me, because I think we have to be cautious towards what people are going through, right? So like Maureen mentioned, people losing their jobs in COVID. I got a new job in COVID, right? So it's not something that I'm going to be like, oh, hooray, hooray, like shove it down your throat,
everyone,
right?
True.
When people around me are not on that level. So I think I'm more so cautious about people around me.
Yeah. And I'm also always very happy for others. So maybe that's as well. It's a balance
me too.
Yeah.
I'm really
happy.
Even if you find me in one of my ruts, let me tell you, if you have some good news, I will momentarily come out of that rut for like 30 minutes.
Me too.
Oh, bless you.
Me too. Honestly, yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will
paint my face on.
I will come out of that shit real quick.
True.
It's also, I think it's also like, I don't know if I can call it, is it aspirational living? But like when something good happens for somebody in your life or somebody close to you, I think you take it as, oh my God, these things are possible. Like good things are possible.
Yeah.
So it's uplifting, right?
Yeah.
I would assume. So yeah, I think, guys, if you're tuning in, listening, share your good stories. I think people have a thing about evil eye. Man, fuck evil eye. That's another thing where you're like bringing shit upon yourself. Fuck evil eye.
Yes. No.
Like,
I'm sorry, what is evil eye?
Hey, Maureen, how are you African? the hell? Like, don't tell somebody about your blessings, because then they're going to like put a hex on it or some shit like that.
Kabisa, I don't believe in that stuff. I will tell you.
So I think celebrate your wins. I'm really, really, really big on celebrating your wins.
Too.
Yeah, right?
So much.
And celebrating the wins of others.
Yeah.
So celebrating people's wins. I think that's a good thing in life. And I think when you do that, so as we were talking about energies, right? And maybe different energies. I think when you celebrate wins constantly, whether they're your own or others, I think you keep attracting wins.
Yes.
I think you keep attracting wins. You keep attracting good vibes. Just people, the vibes. The vibes.
The vibes. And also, you know what? You should really want what's yours should be yours. Please. That's like, please don't try to like get anyone. It doesn't even make sense. Why would I not celebrate anyone? Because whatever it is for, it's for it. Like, don't try to like get what is not yours. I think it's just whatever has your name on, that's what you should get. So you're not celebrating doesn't mean that the other person is not even getting to get it. It's just a poor mentality that we should fight.
Yeah,
it doesn't really.
We should fight.
Yeah, let's celebrate others. Let's celebrate their wins, and like you're saying, it comes back to you because of the energy.
I think it comes back
coming from a place of authenticity. Not those shallow celebration of like, oh my God, don't mean it. Like if you mean it, you really mean it, right?
Yeah. My philosophy on that is like, who wants to be at the top alone? Like, how would you want to win alone? Like, I don't think I would be happy if I was winning and my friends or my family weren't, at the same level I was.
Yeah, but that would be a whole nother topic of SheBlooms, but it's because of our own, it's ego, it's insecurity, it's like so many things that we've gone through that can, make you feel that way. So again, it's about healing, being able to heal for yourself and then be able to actually, you can only see that when you're in a slightly on a journey of healing, I guess.
And maybe like a self-discovery journey. Anyway, I'm very pro these things, just FYI. I'm pro all of these journeys for
me too.
People listening.
Up there.
But I wanted to ask you guys about, so obviously being on highs, right? Have you heard of imposter syndrome?
Yes. I think I have it.
So imposter syndrome is okay. Let me read your definition. Was it Vanessa who said she doesn't know what it was?
Yes.
Imposter syndrome is loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. So it is disproportionately affects high achieving people who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. Many question whether they're deserving of their accolades. So basically it's being at the top and wondering if you deserve to be at the top, or like being at your mountain top and being like, maybe I should more so be in a valley. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I know what imposter syndrome is.
Yeah. I don't know about feeling undeserving. I think it also leads back to that thing about guilt.
Yes.
Your highs. So what Vanessa said about knowing what's yours is yours, or what's meant to be yours. And
Yes.
as I can add, walking in faith, I think as long as you're on that journey and you know that like God has put you in that place,
Yeah.
I think you would be able to accept it. But I know that sometimes people definitely have some kind of imposter syndrome.
I'm trying to, like when you're trying to think of moments when you're like, oh, I don't deserve that. Because here's the thing, there are so many things we don't deserve, but God allowed them.
Yeah,
right?
No, definitely.
So which is grace.
Say that. I was going to,
like grace.
I was going to say, I think it's not that I don't feel like I'm not deserving, but it's like, oh my God, how have you chosen me to be the deserving one? That's more
true.
so
that's feeling. Okay.
That's more so my feeling. That's more so my imposter syndrome is that. It's like, why? Like, what the hell did I do right for this? Yeah, that's more so it. But then just I think because we're running out of time, so just to wrap up, I think something that I would suggest that listeners do, or whatever journey they're on, I think is not being afraid to walk in faith. So even if you are in a rut and you're in a low place, I think knowing that you have the power to make whatever decisions need to be made first of all, right?
Yes.
So whether it's closing a chapter, whether it's whatever, right? Leaving one place, going to another, leaving a job, I'm not trying to promote leaving husbands, but leaving a husband, like leaving whatever situation that is not working for you, right? And not being afraid, because I think people also delay in their ruts due to fear. Right? I think that a lot of stuff is fear driven. So you stay in it out of fear. What's next? What can I possibly do? But when you close one door, honey, I want others open.
Amen.
That is my advice. As we wrap up, is just don't be afraid. And as Vanessa said, nothing lasts forever. But yeah, Vanessa, do you have any last words, any last advice for how to deal with the ebbs and flows of life?
I think it's very being, like we're saying, that walk in faith, holding on to God. That's what I cannot say what I don't do. So this is what I know. And also being kind to yourself, that, this will pass. It's a season, and all season, they cannot be the same, right? Sound very, cliche, but it's really real, And sometimes it's going back to those good days and be like, if God has allowed me to live this moment, he will do it again, right? So, and sometimes you also need that to be able to grow. So the rights are not bad, but for me, I feel like they also serve us for a greater purpose, for a better. There's so much growth in it, and it doesn't last forever again. And
I think on that, I think everything is a learning. What can I call it? Possibility. So there's growth in everything. Absolutely,
there's growth in everything.
There's in all that we go through. That's the one positive. Mo, do you have Any last words?
Yeah, my advice for anybody who, I think all of us have highs and lows, some more than others. What I can say is that this is very normal. Your feelings are valid, whether they're very to the extreme, to the low extreme, whether somebody feels they're not that serious, it's not that serious, or what do you have to be miserable about? Your feelings are valid. Yeah. If you're happy, you're happy. If you're sad, you're sad. If you're, depressed, you're depressed. And also if we're self-aware, we need to learn to be self-aware, to be in tune with ourselves, to know when, to realize our triggers, to realize when we're going through those moments, that we're able to what's the word?
Identify.
Yeah, and also take action, take measures, action to get ourselves out of these places, whether it's turning to God, Allah, whatever you believe in, whether it's working out, whether it's taking time out for yourself, or even having to talk to somebody. I can't stress that enough. Sometimes
we didn't touch on
counseling and stuff. Yes, I think
that's a big point.
I think it's very important, and it's normal to be able to seek help from a therapist or a counselor, and it's very, 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 very normal. You shouldn't be afraid to talk to someone who's professionally, can actually help you to go through those emotions.
My advice is very simple. So you just need to enjoy every step of your life and understand that some of the things will have to happen. You're not going to have a very rosy, cozy life. But if you take the bad things happening to you in a positive way, you should be able to grow from it. Yeah. But if you tend to always say, oh yeah, it's bad, then it won't help you.
Definitely living in a negative space.
It will not help you. And then also when you have the nice things happening to you, please enjoy it. I'm also taking that advice and stopping expecting the worst to happen. Nothing is going to happen.
Enjoy it and call me to enjoy with you, please.
Most definitely. Yeah, all the time.
I am always seeking enjoyment.
Necessary.
So feel free to send me a DM and be like, Chantal, let's enjoy.
Right? All the time.
It's very fine. Thank you, Ma. So thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. Vanessa and Martine, I know I have stalked you guys for
so glad you have finally happened.
Blooms. I just felt like you guys would be good for the episode, honestly, because I think we know each other very well. It's I always find that it's important to have conversations with people who, especially when there are these kinds of conversations with people that you know and people that you trust and people that you can have the conversation with, right? So I really hope that the listeners out there, I really hope that you guys caught on to that, and that it's a very comfortable conversation for us. This is any other day that we be talking about this. And obviously me and Maureen, this is just any other day. Literally, like, any other hour, we're constantly on the phone about these types of issues. But it was something near and dear, and I also wanted it to be the first one back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are
thank you. Yay!
We're coming back monthly with SheBlooms episodes. This was the first one. It's coming out
your birthday month,
right? Birthday month. It's we're trying to get the good vibes. We're enjoying the highs of life.
Good
okay,
vibes. Of
We're enjoying
Yes,
the good vibes.
yes.
You know?
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Genuinely,
you're
thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome,
Yeah,
Benny.
and
Um,
congrats on coming back strong.
Thank you. Thank you. So
Better.
this is my first one back. I already have the other ones lined up, so we're good to go, people. Don't worry. You're gonna listen to some good content. And hopefully, again, as you know, I for me it's all about inspiring growth and the glow. Okay, as Vanessa said, put on your red lipstick and slay. Okay, that's
Red
how we
Lippy.
Meanwhile, guys, it's like 9 or 10 p.m. Vanessa has on a full face of makeup. So
Necessary.
trust me, this is very necessary for
You
her.
have to walk your talk, Shanti.
You really do. But thank you guys for joining me, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Drop your views and takeaways in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to get notified when new episodes are uploaded. We are coming in hot, okay? Stay tuned.
Hot.
Next month is fire
Hot summer
blazing.